Good evening, everyone. This is Group 3. Today we want to present you the valuation of William Lyon Homes. First, let me introduce you my group member, Ayush. He is a student of MS Energy Management, and Cody. He's studying MBA. Dreaming. He's studying MS Finance. And my name is Maggie. I'm doing MS Finance and MS Accounting. Now let's get started. First, I want to introduce you the background of those two companies. Taylor Morrison Home Corporation is one of the largest home builders and developers in the United States. It was the product of the merge between Taylor Woodron, which was founded in 1927, and Morrison Homes, which was founded in 1905. It not only provides home building services from entry level to luxury houses, but it also provides financial services to customers. It is headquartered in Arizona and is one of the most trusted home builders in the United States. Speaking of William Lyon Homes, it's one of the largest Western U.S. regional home builders. It mainly operates in West Coast states, including California, Washington, and others. Its headquarters locates in Newport Beach, California. It provides services including design, construction, marketing, and the sales of single-family homes. Taylor Morrison plans to acquire William Lyon Homes with 2.4 billion, and if this acquisition is success, it will create the nation's fifth largest home building company based on the number of closing houses in 2019. This acquisition will help Taylor Morrison to expand their business to Washington, Nevada, and other states. It also will help Taylor Morrison to achieve scale of efficiency and realize specialization. So since we have so many advantages, we are now looking at a current operating situation for William Lyon Homes. It has a revenue growing in the past several years, but the revenue is increasing at a decreasing speed. Also, the net income fluctuates in past several years, and the margin was 2.47% in 2017, but the based on the data from the last 12 months, the margin is only around 3%. So it is time for William Lyon Homes to settle down and think about which directions they should go since they are facing a bottleneck recently. As I said previously, if Taylor do acquire William Lyon Homes, there will be a lot of benefits. The first benefit would be cost savings. Part of it due to the cost of labor, because those two companies works in the same industry. Some of the employees will be redeployees, but some will not. And the other part would be the lower of the overhead cost, like savings from advertising, promotion, and inventory management. According to the CEO's estimation, the overall synergy saving will be around $18 million, from which 20 million of them would come from cost of goods sold and the rest come from the savings from SG&A. And Taylor will also reach efficiency of scaling because it will become the fifth largest U.S. home builder. And Taylor could also expand its market share for single-family homes from 28% to 36%. Since the deal brings a lot of benefits to Taylor, so we use three different models to this transaction. Here are the general assumptions we use in the three different models. We use the discounted cash flow model, trading multiples, and transaction multiple to value this transaction. The first assumption we made is based on the revenue growth. We get the information from industry analysis from Bloomberg and JP Morgan. And based on those assumptions, we think that in 2019, the company would have a negative growth rate around 4%, and in 2020, it should turn to positive, probably around 7%. And from 2021 to 2023, the growth rate should be around 2%, and a terminal growth rate would be around 3%. And we also think there should be some constants in balance sheet, like long-term investment, goodwill, current portion of lease, common stock. So those lines has been straight lines, and some expenses like depreciation, those are calculated based on a ratio over the revenue. And the synergies, as I said, around 75% should from SG&A saving, and 25% comes from the cost of goods sold savings. For discounted cash flow valuation, we first calculated the WACC and then the APV. WACC contains two parts: the cost of debt and cost of equity. For calculating cost of debt, we use the credit spread of a B plus rating and a risk-free rate of 1.92%, which is a 10-year treasury yield. And a B plus credit spread for is around 585 basis points, and the after-tax cost of that for volume homes should be around 4.3%. And for cost of equity, we first calculated levered beta, and we get the numbers from analyzing the competitors. We choose 4 competitors, including Green Brick Partners, 3 Point Group, MDC, and IMI Homes. So the levered beta we got is 1.54, and we finally got a WACC around 7.1%. Based on those calculations, we get a valuation of around $2.5 billion at last. The second valuation method we use is called trading multiple analysis. In this case, we calculated 3 different multiples. The first one we calculated is total enterprise value over the last 12 months revenue, which is the most constant multiple, and we've got 1.1. And the other 2 are commonly used multiples. The first one is total enterprise value over the EBITDA, and we've got 1879 for this multiple. And the last one we use is total enterprise value over the EBIT. And for here, we've got 1916 for this multiple. And based on those multiples, we finally got a value of 2.45 billion. So it's a little bit lower than what we have from discounted cash flow, but the value doesn't show a very big difference. And the last that we use here is the transaction multiple valuation. And for here, transaction multiple means the trading multiple used to value other deals. So here we didn't use the firm specific multiples, we use the industry average multiple. And the industry average total enterprise value over last 12 months revenue should be 1.33, and total enterprise value over the last 12 months EBITDA is 17.7. So based on those multiples, we got a value of 2.7 billion. So this result is a little bit bigger than the previous two, but I think it's because it's more industry wise instead of firm specific. And here's our result. We see an acceptable range for William Lyon Homes as 2 billion to 2.7 billion. And 2.7 billion should be the maximum based on our calculation, because based on the transaction multiples, using industry average numbers, the 2.7 billion would be the maximum amount that Taylor should acquire William Lyon Homes. So the 2.4 billion offer is in an acceptable range and it's pretty reasonable. And we also think that the coronavirus should be under consideration as well, because the house sale has been declined for a number of reasons in this specific time period, including loss of employment, restricted movement, and others. Based on the past data, it is and it is evident that spring and summer see the highest number of house sales. But for 2020, the sales for last month for single family homes was 15.4% lower than what it was in February, and compared with March 2019, the number has dropped around 9.5%. So we think that the coronavirus has very remote effect. So we decided to set the terminal growth rate in our valuation as 3%. We previously have a terminal growth rate of 3.5%, but based on the pandemic, we decided to reduce it a little bit to around 3%. And due to the decrease in home prices, a lot of investors decided to buy new houses this time, but it is not clear that whether those investing can save the home building industry from lower growth rate. So the final result is not clear yet. So if we do change the growth rate, and the WACC will be lower to 6.7%, and a total enterprise value based on discounted cash flow model will be only around 1.74 billion, which is way lower than the price of 2.4 billion. So our suggestion is Taylor should think twice before they buy William Lyon Homes, especially during this time period, because the future is not that clear. Thank you for listening.